Rap about anything I want to. Never hold back, never front, never scared to lose. I whoop 2 times and I flip dope rhymes for the family every time that I
First
come
of all,
through.
before I, get you on here talking and rambling on and whatnot, I got to do a little bit of dick riding and congratulate myself. You know, shout out to one of the most legendary people in hip hop, man. Shout out to a pioneer. We got him in here talking with us tonight, man. It's One Ton, one half of Potluck, man, which is a group I listened to all through high school when I was smoking dirt weed back then and shit. You know what I'm saying? So like, how did uh how did you and Josh, or underrated, whatever you want to call them, how did y'all link up? Like how did the group really get formed?
um, well, we have both been doing our own thing as DJs. Me in the San Diego County area, and him in Humboldt. And then I moved up to Humboldt, and we a new club opened up, and they had a DJ tryout. So we both showed up for the DJ tryout, and we were the two dopest DJs. And then instead of just hiring one, he just hired us both, and then made us split the hip hop night they had there.
Oh shit.
So kind of like forced us to work together. And then once we worked together, man, we had a crazy energy and a vibe, and then we just took it from there, from DJing, beats, rhyming, and there.
Yeah.
10 albums later, the rest is history.
Because like you two have very different styles. I mean, and they complement each other well, but they're not what you would expect. You know, it's not an expected matchup, is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like they're very different in sound. So like that's really cool how that all came about, man. So like Humboldt County High, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, let's talk about that. Going into that album, like, what was your recording process like back then? Because things have changed a whole lot technologically and like how we put music together now. So, like, what's that like?
So yeah, so like Humboldt County High was recorded on ADAT tapes. I don't know how many of
Yeah.
y'all old school rappers out there know about ADAT. You know what I'm saying? So we had a couple songs on Reel to Reel too. So we had a couple songs on Reel to Reel, and then most of it on ADAT tape. And the process that we did back then was kind of similar, man. We just had a bunch of beats and we went through and wrote to them. And when we did Humboldt County High, we had already recorded like 100 songs. We were just recording songs. At that time when we did Humboldt County High, we didn't even consider ourselves rappers for real. Like we were DJs and producers, but a lot of MCs would flake on us in terms of coming over and recording on beats because Humboldt's not like the biggest hip hop mecca. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
so we didn't have a bunch of MCs. So we just started making songs because we had beats that was dope and we like rap. So we started rapping. Next thing you know, we had like 100 tracks. And we were getting tired of like burning CDs for the homies. So we was just like, fuck it. Let's put together an album. We'll get 1,000 CDs pressed up. If we could sell 100 of them to our friends, that'll make up the cost of, and then we'll have like, instead of burning 1,000 CDs, we'll have all that time just to make more music. You know, like that's just the way we
Yeah.
thought of it. We
Mhm.
weren't like, yo, we're gonna do it and blow up. And we put it out. And I still remember, man, I like dropped a whole bunch of music off. I did consignment at every music store they had in Humboldt. There was only 6 stores that sold music. Dropped it all off. Then one of them said, hey, there's a new hip hop radio station opened up. So I just drove right to the radio station. I knocked on the front door. Turned out to be Greg Mack. I don't know if y'all familiar with Greg Mack, but he's a legendary hip hop pioneer from the Los Angeles area. He's the one who gave NWA and Dr. Dre their start. Like Dr. Dre's first job as a DJ was through this guy, Greg Mack.
Right.
So he just appreciated the independent hustle, knocked on the door, started talking to him. He's like, all right, man, give me your best track. I'll throw it out there and see what the fans think. And he just played the shit for me first day. The fans loved it because it was saying, like you said, Humboldt County High was the name of the lead track for the album.
Yeah.
Ended up being the #1 most requested song on that radio station, which then in turn led to our CD fucking selling like fucking fire. And within 24 hours, every single CD that we put in the store sold out. They all called me back and wanted more. I gave them double, 24 hours, they sold out again. Gave them triple, 24 hours, they sold out again. And Humboldt County High went on to be the #1 selling album in the whole entire Humboldt County when it came out that year, more than any other album. Eminem dropped the album that year. We sold more than him. It just in Humboldt County, not everywhere else, just in Humboldt.
Right.
Sold more than Eminem. So Britney Spears was super hot at that time. Sold more than Britney Spears, sold more than all those people in our hometown. And so that just kind of like was like, well, I guess we probably should be rapping and focus more on rapping. since
Yeah.
our album was doing so good. And so that's how I kicked off.
But see, like, I remember, I believe I was a junior in high school. Maybe I was a senior. Um, there was a program that was called Bear Share, right?
Right.
Um, along with what was it, Kaza, Troy, and Morpheus and all that shit like that. And
Mhm.
my homeboy, you know, he was always really into underground music. Like, you know, he was big into Tech Nine and whatnot, and Cottonmouth Kings and this and that and the third. And he was like, yo, I'm gonna play you this fucking music and then I'm gonna burn you this CD and some shit you ain't never heard. And I was like, okay. And I was, see, I'm a rapper myself. I'm not sure if you're familiar with me.
I'm familiar with you, bro. I'm familiar with you.
All right. So, you know, I was like, yeah, whatever. Cause I was at the time where I was like, man, I rap. Fuck all the rest of these people. They ain't paying my fucking bills. I ain't listening to them. You know what I'm saying? So, my man had downloaded some tracks from this group at the time I'd never heard of called Potluck. And he was playing me a couple of joints off the Bear Share. And I was like, yo, these motherfuckers is rapping about weed. And ain't nobody rapping about weed. I fuck with this shit. You know, and back then we was smoking dirt weed out of gravity bongs, you know what I'm saying? Brown weed and shit, you know, trying to get a big old peach white owl blunt, like 2 grams in that bitch, you know what I'm saying? And
Brick weed, brick
yeah,
like
brick
brick
weed.
Mexican weed.
The booth. Yeah, exactly. And I start vibing to the shit. I'm like, yo, it's something about this shit that I really, 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 really like. You know, so I get on up into it, you know, and really just start listening to like um pipe dreams and things like that, man, and just really following y'all, man. But then y'all kind of fell off for a little while. Well, not fell off like in a way of y'all whack, but fell off in a way where music just wasn't really coming like that. So how'd that come about?
Yeah, so Pipe Dreams, um, that was like our middle record on Suburban Noise.
Mm-hmm.
So we had already did our, we ended up doing we did a 3 album deal with Suburban Noise. We finished, actually we did a 4 album deal. We put like a collabo record out too, and that one was kind of in the middle.
Right.
And the way our process kind of worked is my philosophy in terms of business was I never wanted to force music out and push music out way more or do a whole bunch of more shows just for the money. I always felt like you always had to like make the best songs you could, put the best album out you could. If that album took a month to do, it went out in a month. If it took 2 years to do, it took 2 years. Like, don't ever try to put shit out that's not really where you at. And so when we were on Suburban Noise, it's like we had, by the time we had got there, we had already did, you know, basically 3 records on our own, a 4th one with them. Pipe Dreams was the 5th one. So it was kind of like at that point we were like, okay, well, what else can we kind of do? Let's kind of like mix it up a little bit. So we were really in the creative space of kind of searching for a lot of different things at that time. So I feel like that record took us like 2 years to put out between Pipe Dreams and Rhymes and Resin. So yeah, so that was that time. And then, you know, then after Rhymes and Resin, that was our last one we did on Suburban Noise. And so then our 2 records we put out after that were mostly like mixtape style, indie style albums. So
I think the first time I heard of Potluck, y'all were touring with Twisted. It was in Charlotte, North Carolina, man. And it's I saw the flyer and I was like, oh shit, Potluck, who the fuck is this? And when y'all stepped on stage, dude, I was like, holy shit, these motherfuckers are dope.
yeah, man, Twisted, man. We had some really good times with Twisted, man. I always fuck with Paul, man, because Paul, when he put tours together, he'll try to find out who was grinding and who was independent and who was really like had a good sound that was dope. And he'll talk to the fans and he'll talk to people, other artists, and he'll be like, who's up and coming that you think is dope? And then he heard Potluck was dope. And then one day he just hit us up out the blue and said, bro, people say y'all dope, man. I don't know if you ever heard of Twisted, which I had heard of Twisted. But he was like, you know, we would like to bring you out on tour. Whoop to whoop. He gave me the whole spiel. And then I remember thinking, I was like, oh man, you know, he told me, it's like, yeah, man, I was talking to this Juggalo and he said he's seen you guys open for Tech Nine and he ain't never seen anybody on the stage with Tech Nine that could hold their own. He's like, I'm not saying that he said y'all was better than Tech. I'm just saying he said y'all could hold y'all own on the stage. And I was like, oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
And then I just thought he was bullshitting me. He was just gassing me up or whatever. So we did that tour with Twisted. We did North Carolina. We did a bunch of shows. And then we were in Orange County. This Juggalo came up to me and he was like, man, it's funny you out here with Twisted. He was like, I was talking to Monoxide, who's Paul. So I was talking to Monoxide and I was telling him, have you ever heard of a group Potluck? And he told me no. And I told him, you guys was dope, man. I seen you tour with Tech. do a show with Tech and you was holding your own. I told him you wasn't better than Tech now, but I told him you could hold your own with Tech. And I was like, damn, he wasn't bullshitting me. That's like a real story. He really did listen to a juggalo who said we was dope. Then he went and checked us out. Then he hit us up and gave us an opportunity just based off being dope and a juggalo being into it. And I always respected him for that because I was like, man, that's some real hip hop shit right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you heard a motherfucker's dope and you gave him an opportunity, man. Like, I fucks with that.
So, like, what would you say is your favorite tour that you've been on? Because you guys have done a whole lot of shows, been a lot of places. Like, what's something that stands out to you as far as like the tours you've been on?
Oh man, I've done before the pandemic. I did 100 shows a year since 2002 at minimum. You know, the most I ever did was 220 a year. So I've done a lot of shows. So I can't really say that, you know, one tour in particular was head and shoulders above all the rest. But there was some, you know, just in terms of how I kind of rank them. Like when we did the one with Burner and Devin the Dude, you know, we did 40 dates and we sold out 38 or 40 shows.
Wow.
And that was like so huge. And it just for the weed movement. And that's right when cookies started popping. It was before any of the cookie stores or any of that. You know what I'm saying? Burner Hat was just about to really blow. It was some real weed motherfuckers. Like we shared Potluck and Burner shared a bus together. So our bus was constantly smoked out. And I just remember like just the feeling of just that whole weed movement kind of just really popping off right before the legalization happened everywhere, like fully all the way cracking. And I just remember that was a big one. And the funny part about it is we sold out 38 or 40 shows, and the two shows that didn't sell out were the two shows in Colorado, which was the only state that had legal weed at the time.
You know, a couple of years ago, I actually met you briefly. I was at a Devin the Dude show in Charlotte, me and my homeboy Jones McShine, and you were with Burns from Mayday, and I think Recognize might have been which it was a Devin the Dude show either way, and y'all had just come up, you know, kind of popped in just to watch the show and whatnot, man, and you were like real cool. Like I was like, yo, I'm Blind Fury, and he was like, yeah, it's nice to meet you. I was like, word, that's what's up. Yeah,
because I've been knowing about you, bro. Like I just always thought it was dope, bro. Like how like you incorporated what you was and Blind Fury in your name, but then the rhymes, you would go out there like unapologetic with the rhymes and like get at them. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, I fucks with this dude. I just fuck your whole approach to hip hop. I fuck with you. And ever since I first seen you, I seen a clip of you freestyling against, I don't know if it's a freestyle, maybe it was written, but I see he was kind of battling this dude. And I remember seeing a clip of it somewhere like on YouTube or the internet. Somebody had shared it with me. And ever since then, I have fucked with you. And then that show, I remember meeting you, and you had a homeboy who was like walking you around, taking care of you, making sure you was solid. And we actually had a show up the street. And then I had toured with Devin before. And so then I just told Mayday, because it was a Mayday. Actually, I was touring with them as a solo artist at the time. So it was just me and Mayday. And I brought him over to the show with actually this other group called Little Stranger. I don't know if you hit to them, but they're out of South Carolina, man. These two dudes are fucking dope as fuck. So I brought them all over to the show. We went to the show, Devin do show and everything. And then I remember your homeboy coming up to me and you coming up to me and meeting me.
We vibed out, man. It was a real cool night, man. So like, what got you into rapping?
Well, I always love hip hop, man. Like I always love hip hop. You know, I was throwing house parties and, you know, bringing hip hop to fucking all around my high school. As a freshman, I would throw the parties that the seniors would go to from our schools, and the rival schools would come to it. And I had a little hookup with the little liquor store up the street. I'd buy kegs out the back door at 14 years old, put a bunch of flyers up, get like 500 people at the house, charge them $5 a pop, and just get hip hop cracking. So I just love hip hop my whole life. Went from throwing parties, DJing, with making beats. And then like I was saying earlier, people was kind of flaking on coming to rhyming. So then we just started rhyming on the beats. And then it kind of took off from there. And then I realized, man, we kind of got something going on here. And I just always loved hip hop. And that just kind of became the road that, that we went down.
Yeah, man. So what's life been like, throughout the COVID, for you and whatnot?
So the COVID shit been crazy, man. Especially for us in California. My actual county was the first county in the whole country to do a lockdown.
Wow.
So, and we still on lockdown now. Like I live right outside of San Francisco right now. You know what I'm saying? So we still are on a lockdown. And so it's been really different. You know what I'm saying? Especially because I was on tour when it first hit. I got stuck in a hotel in Los Angeles for a week. Seeing what was going to happen. Every day they kept saying, okay, this show is going to be postponed. Everything's on hold. And then I came home from being locked in a hotel for a week, right to home, being locked down, being stuck in here. But like I said earlier, I'd done 100 shows a year up until COVID hit. So it gave me a good time to like go back, especially now doing solo work. It gave me a chance to rededicate myself to the solo work. Like, man, I've been writing a whole bunch of music. I got a whole bunch of shit stored up, songs, videos. I got a whole bunch of things I'm working. I'm about to actually make a big announcement here coming soon. I wish I was supposed to do it last week and I could have talked about everything now, but some of the back end stuff is delayed on the internet side. So, but I'm gonna be making a whole big announcement about all that stuff. But the COVID kind of like let me kind of refocus on the art of hip hop, man, and rhyming it. And I got a bunch of stuff I'm about to unleash on the world, man. And yeah, I'm happy for it, man. It had me sit down, man, and focus on what's more important, my family and rhyming and shit.
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this, man. I consider it an honor and an absolute pleasure to be able to interview, like, and just to talk to you, period. Like, not even on no interview and ask you questions, shit, like, because we started this YouTube vlog. I mean, yeah, I had a little bit of a name, but like we started the vlog, during the pandemic because we were all locked down. It wasn't really nothing you could do. And I drove a car and we went from 10,000 subscribers to up and up and up and up. And now we hit the 100K. And like, so then when you hit us back and you were like, yeah, I do the interview. I'm like, oh shit, we're interviewing fucking one son.
That was big for us, man.
Yeah, that's big.
We appreciate it.
I appreciate the fuck
And I
out of that.
appreciate the invite, man. Like you guys grinded, man. You did something real independent, man. You got your stuff to 100K subscribers. That ain't nothing to fucking complain about. That's something to fucking celebrate, man. It's something to be happy about, man. So like, I'm happy for the invite, man. It's an honor to get on here with y'all, man.
But what I'm saying to you is, at least now, it's a whole lot easier to get your shit out there than it was like when you and Josh started, because back then it was hard copies. And you had to push them CDs to the masses. It wasn't really no YouTube like that. So
streaming platforms.
I respect the fuck out of what y'all did, man.
For sure.
Yeah, it was no YouTubes. It was no, streaming services, no playlists. You couldn't even, like now how you see artists getting on shows, like, getting tickets and selling tickets for bigger artists and be able to get on shows. Like you couldn't do none of that when we started.
Yeah.
Like how we got our shit cracking is I went out with flyers and hung them all up around Humboldt. Besides our shit playing on the radio and making it pop, I was going around with our music in like a CD Walkman, playing it for kids at the college, being like, listen, it's hip hop, come to our show. And we had to generate people coming out to a show all on our own. We couldn't sell tickets and piggyback off nobody else. We ended up selling out, 300 or 500 capacity joints all around Humboldt, just sheerly on our own. Now it's like, man, like you got so many opportunities, man. Tech Nine's coming through. All right, cool. I'll sell 50 tickets. I'll get on a Tech Nine show. Yeah. I'll get a chance to perform my music in front of 1,000 Tech Nine fans or 5,000 Tech Nine fans, depending on the market. Like that wasn't available to me when I started. We had to get it a different way. Not to say the younger cats don't hustle, because they got, man, these younger cats, man, they own some internet hustle shit, man, with the playlist and with the viral shit, man. And like, man, like, I give them much props, man, because that's shit that I don't even fucking understand and I can't even get down with. But I got much respect for how they do it and how they hustle. But the way that we came up on ours was just a little bit different.
Straight independent too, man. Y'all did your thing independent.
Y'all did that shit, man. I think y'all paved the way for people like us to do what we're doing right now. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the hard work and dedication that people like y'all put in, back before there was really a big internet presence, I felt like it opened up doors for a lot of rappers to have a voice and an outlet now.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you saying that, man. Like, I'm humbled, man, that especially, like I said, I fuck with you as an MC. So I'm humbled that you would say something to me like that. I know I had I don't know if you guys are hip to the Living Legends. Merce, I know maybe if you're into tech and them, you heard of Merce. He was signed to Strange Music and all that. But like, I mean, I looked up to them as indie style, you know, like if you think of somebody like Lucky I Am and Sunspot Jones, Mystic Journeyman, who's part of Living Legends, like these dudes, before there was even CDs and burning CDs, these dudes got tapes done. Filled up a backpack full of tapes and would just like go to different cities and sell CDs out or sell tapes out their backpack and just do open mics and just get on anywhere they could to get underground hip hop off. And I looked at what they did and I was like, I got to incorporate that to make our shit pop. And then now to hear other people come to me and be like, yo, A-Ton, you know, Potluck, I listened to Potluck back in the day and I learned from y'all and then I got my indie stuff off. To me, that's the great thing about hip hop. You can watch it pay down through generations. You know, I looked up for Living Legends and I learned from them. And now, thankfully, other people can learn from me and have hip hop and have the culture of hip hop still go to that next level.
For sure. So I'm gonna let you go in a minute, but I want to talk to you about a couple more things real fast, man. It's all good.
All good. All good.
Let's talk about this weed, man. Let's talk about because you're really familiar and really well versed, you know, in weed and everything about weed. And I love weed myself. However, I live in a state that's not legal yet. You feel me?
What state?
We in South Carolina.
Ooh, South Carolina. Also, y'all probably do fuck with Little Stranger. You gotta have to know Little Stranger if you're in South Carolina.
I've never heard of him.
Yeah, we're gonna have to check them out though.
Oh man, you gotta check them out, man. They do the Poorhouse all the time. That's how we met them. They sold out the Poorhouse in Charleston.
I've been to the Poorhouse.
Yeah, as a headliner. So you gotta fuck with him, man. Check him out. Anyway, that's another side story. Let's get to it.
What's some of your favorite strains, man? Where do you think the weed is best grown? Because I know you're gonna say Humboldt because you're from there, but like outside of that.
Well, you know me, man. I'm always gonna ride. I'm gonna ride with my area, so I'm gonna say Humboldt County versus anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you know, the weed game, like I've just watched it evolve. Kind of like how I've watched music evolve. Like, I was growing weed. The amount of weed we was growing, you know, it was 10-year minimums, 10-year federal penitentiary minimums for the amount of weed we growing. And I went from that to be able to go to a store and just buy weed like it was a 7-Eleven and just buy joints out of a store.
Yep.
So that's the transition I've seen weed make in my lifetime and my time of just being a pothead. Right. So to me, I've just seen such a transition that it's a wonderful thing, man. The access is crazy. I mean, it kind of got corporate in the way some of the real growers and the people that invented some of the most famous strains kind of got left to the side and shit like that. Like, obviously that hurts me as a, you know, grower and my whole angle on the weed game. But the access that it has now, the acceptability that it has in normal public circles, I think is a wonderful thing, because the fact that they demonized marijuana for so long was ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? It was just straight ridiculous. So to see where it's arrived at this point is cool. And then just me as a consumer, man, you know, I can go on for days and name a whole bunch of strains. I always start by saying, in my opinion, I believe the grower matters more than the strain, because I know a bunch of solid growers, man, that'll take a seed of some brick Mexi, and then you get a grower who don't know shit who'll start with this firest seed of OG, and then they'll make their brick Mexi seed come out with way more fire than that fucking strain of OG, just because the grower knows what they're doing. So I say you always got to start with the grower. But if you're asking me some of my favorites, man, I mean, obviously OG is OG, so that's always going to be one I fuck with. Me personally, when it comes to taste, I always fuck with the Skittles. Shouts out to my dude Fields, man. Like, to me, the flavor of Skittles has always been my favorite. Man, I can go on for days, man. But those are my top two, I'll say, just kind of my go-tos. And then really the growers is the main thing.
So who are you listening to right now as far as musically?
Musically, well, my workout music is West Coast gangster rap. So every time I you know, I had to get a little gym, I had to buy my little home gym. So every time I go work out, you know, you find me bumping like some Nipsey Hussle, you know what I'm saying, some E40, just West Coast stuff, you know what I'm saying? And then I even go back and bump the old school like Dub C and West Side Connection.
Oh yeah.
And then I even fuck with some of the trap shit in the South, T.I., Jeezy, that's kind of my workout music. So you'll always find me bumping that. In terms of just listening pleasure and new music that's coming out, I really fuck with Simba. Just coming out of the Bay Area, man. That dude's cold as fuck. Mayday got a new record actually dropping tonight, man. I fuck with Mayday heavy. Those dudes, man, like they're just. Before I toured with them, I didn't realize how amazingly just musically talented those dudes were. Like, really I don't care if it's rhyming or singing or just production and knowing notes and just these motherfuckers is just crazy. So I fuck with Mayday. Man, I got my dude Black Pegasus, man, in terms of underground hip hop, man, out there in Colorado. I've been dropping some crazy stuff, man, going all political and shit. He has some crazy stuff dropping. The new E40, man, he's a legend. I fuck with 40.
That new 40 and short is slapping, cuz.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I done shows with both those dudes before. I know both those dudes. I got songs, you know what I'm saying, with E40. So it's like, I'm always gonna support that shit. But if you're asking me for a jam, the people who ain't heard of Simba, I'll say go fuck with Simba, man. He's dope. Up and coming, just coming out.
Man, well, listen, homie. You got anything you want to add, Troy?
No, man. I think shit covered it.
Well, man, look, I appreciate you coming on, man. You want to shout out your socials, shout out anything you want to?
Yeah, man. I don't know when you guys are gonna air this, man, but I got some big announcements coming up in terms of a lot of content coming out, man, and albums. You know what I'm saying? Girl. So I got a lot of info coming out and a whole new online strategy too. So look out for me in the next couple of weeks. For now, you can follow me everywhere. Potluck 1 ton. Potluck like a whole bunch of food, and then 1 ton like a whole lot of weight. The number 1 TON. Fuck with my Instagram, man. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, man, and Facebook and all that. I just rebranded all my stuff solo. You know what I'm saying now. So come fuck with me, man. Fuck with me on this solo journey, man. I got a lot of knowledge to spread to y'all, man, and a lot of knowledge to spread to the people. So man, fuck with me.
I'm fucking with you. I'm glad that you decided to fuck with us, man, and took the time out to do it, man. It's an honor. You hear me?
Word, man. I appreciate y'all. It's an honor, and thanks for the invite.
Peace out, bro.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
All right, man. West Coast.